Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we are shipping out today on Friday. So we had like a pretty lower sales day for yesterday, but because it's still like kind of like a little bit into the next day, sorry, for Thursday, and then some of this stuff is actually from the morning of Friday. So there was some good sales. All right. So the first thing, sorry, I'm still catching up. Little brain fog still from the other day. The first thing is going to be these player set of Risk pieces. It's red, brown, yellow, black, blue, and green. I got a bunch of these Risk pieces a long time ago. They don't sell for anything too crazy. It just depends on like, well, some of the editions do. If you get like the Lord of the Rings, and there's a bunch of different versions of Risk, kind of like Monopoly. There's gonna be some rare ones out there. But yeah, I think these are from the 90s because they're the Roman numerals. So yeah, this set of player pieces sold for $9 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. All right, next up is going to be this book right here, A History of the Fourth Prince of Wales, owned Gurkha Ripples, Volume 2, 1960, just like a trade paperback book. I don't know too much about this one. We got a bunch of these like historical, military, and other sorts of books. But yeah, this ended up going for $13.61. So the books have been pretty decent for us. That's actually like an older listing. I just saw like the bin it was in. Okay, so next up is kind of weird because this person was paying for different times. This is like, I think, our best repeat buyer we've had on eBay ever. So I don't know when the last time. It was kind of recent enough where I remember maybe like a month ago, maybe less than that. Time kind of goes by really quickly. But they bought a bunch of the Fantastic miniatures. I actually did a video on the channel going through like a random bin of like miniatures I had that I was going to list. And then there was a part where I just found a bunch of these Fantastic miniatures. They ended up buying a bunch before, and now they bought a bunch now. I don't know the full exact amount because they paid for 22 of them for 147. Then they paid like $6 individually for one, $3 for another packet, $7.50 for another. So they were like, they bought a bunch. Like we sent an invoice, but then they kept buying other ones, and there's still some waiting for payment. So like altogether, it's gonna be like what, around 160, 170 plus shipping. So it's just literally a bunch of these. I had them all baggied. I had a couple hundred listings of these Fantastic miniatures. I think they were miniatures, metal ones made in Spain. I think these are like Napoleonic themed miniatures. So yeah, they got like just a bunch of different of these packets. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm not gonna like show all of them. I'll just show you like how many piles of these that they bought. It was probably like 30 or so. These over here, well, some of them were used, as in like they were opened up from the packets. Other ones were like new packets right here, like the Fantastic miniatures. These 6 or 7 haven't been paid for, so I'm waiting for them to pay for these. I probably have to send an invoice for those, and then I can ship this all out. They've bought from us before, so like I said, this is one of our best repeat buyers, so that was super cool. Really good, kind of like saves or like whole day or something. Like you can turn a sale like that is something that I wish and would hope for more. And when I was originally doing eBay, I fantasized about having sales like this when I had like what, 50 listings, 100. I was like, at some point, I'm gonna get a bunch of something like a similar thing, maybe like a bunch of like miniatures or a bunch of cards, and then there will eventually be people that like they'll get a bunch as long as you give them a good deal. We gave this person a really good deal on this stuff. I normally wouldn't be like, most of these individual offers I would not have accepted, but as like a huge order like this, it's definitely worth it. I took less than like 40% of like my asking price for some of these, but I knew that they were going to get a bunch. And like I said, it's like what, 160, 170 total, which is really good. I still have like another 100 or 200 of these listed. They're not sitting in like an inventory pile. All my Fantastic miniatures are listed, so it just makes like the few days I listed this super worth it. All right, next up is going to be, sorry, I actually distracted myself. So yeah, I used to like fantasize that this type of sale would happen, and then eventually did come true over the course of us doing eBay. Way before we were recording, we done a really good like overpower card game sale. There's been some other ones, I can't think of it right now, but we've definitely done like similar item types, big sales. They're really cool to come across. All right, obviously. All right. Next up is going to be this Revell right here. It's going to be like one of these planes. Which one is this one? This is Nieuwerpoort 17C. I probably said this plane wrong. It just doesn't have the box. I got a bunch of these with the just pieces and then the little instruction booklet. So someone picked it up. Also a different repeat buyer, $10. We've been pretty lucky with repeat buyers. I would say specifically this year and last year. We've been doing eBay, I think it was like summer of 2020. So it did take like a year or two to get to the point to have enough items that someone wants to come back for to have enough feedback, to have the good rapport, to have like the shop look nice, to eventually have a point where we actually have like a good amount of repeat buyers. And then this year, our repeat buyers have really been like the ones that have kind of like saved any like miserable days or would be miserable days. I see like a combo order like this come in, or some individual person that keeps coming back and gets an item maybe every like 2 or 3 months. Sometimes the repeat buyers are every 6 months, but like it kind of stacks up where it's finally like nice and paying off for it, all the hard work and all the listing and doing everything correctly. All right, next up is going to be this. I'm actually curious. Let me know down below in the comments if you remember me selling a bunch of these Ratatouille cake toppers. I can't remember because we've been doing YouTube enough where I remember there was a point where we sold like 7 or 8 or 9 of these in a row. And then I got a bunch of these at a thrift store a long time ago. I then like came across them. I listed one. I don't like to do quantity on most of my items. I like to just list one, see what happens with it. It's sold. I listed the next one the next day. And then I thought I had gone through all of them. And then I ended up coming across 3 more of these. So this one sold right away. Found my old listing, just did the same thing, just changed up the picture for like the packaging had different wear. So yeah, for some reason, people love this Ratatouille cake topper specifically. It has the 2 rats. I've never seen the movie. I saw like parts of it. I know a lot of people like it. I will eventually get around to it at some point. But yeah, it also has like the white baseboard where you put like the white baseboard on the cake. You put the Ratatouille figures. Probably popular because it's the summer. So maybe like, I don't know, some late kind of birthday parties. I guess graduation parties are probably past this point. I don't really know like when people have parties anymore, but I know there's more in the summer, obviously. So $17. This is a repeat buyer too. So I wonder, I'll look into it later. I wonder if they actually bought a different Ratatouille thing. I know people like to like make cakes and stuff like that. So it's like a really cool hobby. I tried to get into it over like 10 years ago. I tried to make cakes from scratch and they did not end up well. But it was cool. I was like impressed because I made like it was either like frosting or sugar or something. I had to like get like a candy thermometer and I had to like boil stuff to like a dangerous heat level or something. It's been so long since I did that, but it's just like I know people like that hobby. But let me know down below in the comments if you actually remember early on in the YouTube videos, if you've been here long enough, if you remember I was selling those constantly. All right, next up is going to be this right here. A lot of 5. These are 1960s. This is kind of like a variety pack or a variety different types of soldiers, Marx figures, NPCs, Timmy, stuff like that. So I got like this huge tub and I had to like kind of organize it. It's kind of the first time I really dug into soldiers of like the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I did spend some time on it, but anything that just was like I couldn't fully figure out, or I didn't want to like list like an individual figure, I would lock them up by color or maybe the ones that I thought were similar enough. And like, because like these things come in play sets or baggies back in the day, so like it's really hard unless if you know which ones go with each other. So these 5 sold for $7. Got all of that stuff listed. Yeah, so it's cool to just see them constantly like selling since I've listed them like a year or two ago, probably like a year or two. All right, next up is going to be a lot of 5. These are going to be Warhammer Fantasy. These are going to be like artillery dice where I haven't played Warhammer Fantasy, but I know they have dice where you roll them and it kind of shows like you're shooting like whatever, like a cannon or a ballista, and you will pick a spot, but then you have to roll dice in case if it will like swerve left or right or forward or backwards. So everything's not like super accurate in the game. There's a lot of stuff with dice in Warhammer. So I think that's what these are. These are going to be like old vintage ones. There's also some red dice in there with like a lightning bolt on it. I forgot what that mentions. Then you have like another number dice here, and there's even like a misfire, which probably means your artillery shot just doesn't hit, or maybe that's what it swerves. But this one was also weird because there was like a little bump on the 2, which is like a misprinted dice, which people like misprinted stuff, kind of. You kind of really have to find a niche person because it kind of becomes like a unique collectible type of thing. So like if you're into like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon, you probably know someone that likes the misprints just because they are like a more rare collectible, because they're not designed to be misprinted to have bumps or to have the art swerved or have another art part of a card on another card. So people do like that stuff once you get down into nitty gritty. So this sold for $23.99. All right, next up, I did label that as misprinted and describe it in the picture. Well, I showed it in the pictures and in the description. We got this Arizona State Highway Patrol car right here. Pretty good quality one. Get a bunch of the die-cast cars all the time. This was with like the storage unit where there's a bunch of police like stuff. Mostly the stuff that I purchased from the person was just like the die-cast cars. There was like some other non-police stuff in that storage unit, but yeah, that sold for $5. Nothing super fancy, but we got like 1,000, 2,000 different cars of various types, some sealed, some not. All right, and then the last thing for the day is going to be 5 Munchkin promo cards. Right here, we have VIP Anniversary Party. We have a Brandy, Curse Shattered, Grin and Tonic, and then Rusty Nail. I have more of these ones, so I just relisted my lot of 5. I also have them individually listed. I have it listed so that the lot of 5 is cheaper. Sometimes I still sell the individual one. So yeah, this ended up going for $15. Munchkins, like this satirical fantasy Dungeons and Dragons like satire card game where everyone's trying to get to level 10. You kick down a door, usually fight a monster, and you have to like negotiate with people around the table if you want them to help you with their characters to see who gets the experience level up, who gets the treasures from it. And then there's also a lot of cards like these curses in here that you can then make people like lose levels or do negative effects on them. And you also like equip up your character. That's mostly Munchkin. It has a lot of different like IP stuff. This is all for the fantasy one and do really well with the promos. People like to add them to their collection. They like to add them to their game. They do use them. They do play them. They do collect them. There's a ton of Munchkin like cards out there, promos, expansions. There are a lot of people like it. It's super popular. Steve Jackson Games Company makes them. They used to be known for like the fighting fantasy books and other RPGs. But they kind of like Munchkins, like they're really good IP for them. All right, this sold for $15. All right, that's everything. I think at some point in one of the videos I released, I said we were going to watch 28 Weeks Later. We did not get around to it, but we're probably going to watch the Superman movie today. So or tonight, so later tonight. So that's what we're gonna do for Friday night. Got some other stuff to list, but yeah. All right, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone had a good week.